Good morning. Thank you for joining today's VOLTHA call. And I am recording this session, so we will post it later on the VOLTHA playlist. And so today we're looking at Sprint 2 again for V1.1.0, and we're expecting to close Sprint 2 tomorrow, end of day. And I did not see any new issues come in, so I think today we will be focusing on the remaining items that are in Sprint 2 that are shown as open and get a status on those. So I've done a refresh. It looks like no issues came in since I last checked. Does anyone know of an issue that is pending for entry into JIRA? Okay, not hearing anything. Let me go over to the Sprint view. And we did have many of the items closed out, so thank you everyone for the work on getting that done. We have 2 left in the to-do column and 4 in progress. And I believe many of the adapter ones we're hoping to have closed at some point today. So why don't I go to those first and get a check on the status? Or let me see if we have, do we have anyone on to give a status on those?
Yeah, Julie, I can take it. I was expecting Sean.
Yeah, I was looking for him. I don't see him on yet.
Yeah, he may have had, he was having a phone issue before.
Okay.
So, but generally, I think we report we're on track for those. The work now is to start getting these pushed up into the open core Garrett.
Okay.
So,
and I do see we have an, oh, go ahead.
Oh, and yeah, so there's, quite a bit of change in there around the adapter side and a little bit on the Broadcom ONU side. And what we're intended to do for that is to, we'll split the Broadcom ONU change out into separate, because that may, have to be approved in by the module owner for that.
Okay.
So at least we can, the intent is at least to get the commits to the OLT adapter as they come through to, to dealing with these issues, and then we go from there. So the work will start. I don't know if it's going to complete today or not.
Okay.
So it's
I do see that we did get the comment from Gary that we're looking to have the changes in Garrett hopefully within a couple of hours. And so then the review can continue. So we'll see how that takes. And it sounds like, so if you split them out, is there going to be a separate JIRA open for the Broadcom piece, if that does need to be done separately?
No,
okay, just different portions in Garrett?
Yeah, just different.
Okay.
They're split in Garrett. They'll still reference the same JIRAs though. Okay,
sounds good. So that one, and I think there were some related to that as well. So I'm guessing we're in similar state for the remainder as well. Let's see. So that was 513, 514. Let me see if there is a comment. There are no comments on that one.
Right, but
and
513 and 514 are still, are sort of together, and then the 516 is a testing.
Yes.
Is a testing story.
Once those others have the code ready. Okay, sounds good. So then I think the last one that is in progress is the disable re-enable ONU, and that was on 482. I believe there was some discussion on that yesterday on the adapter call. And Sean, I think there was an item you were going to be contacting Sienna and Adtran for discussion on how this is done on their ONUs. And I think you're on mute also.
Yes, I have not done so yet.
Okay, so I will go ahead and leave this one in the sprint today. Do we have a sense of the likelihood that this one can be completed in Sprint 2, since we're expecting Sprint 2 to close tomorrow?
No, I don't think it can.
I don't really think it can either.
Debate still, yeah.
Sean, I'm thinking we should go ahead and move this one to sprint 3?
Okay.
Okay. Well, I will move that in the other view. I think it's easier to do, or actually, maybe I can do it here. Okay. So we will change that one and then see if that can get addressed during sprint 2, which I believe is really focused on adapter issues at this point. Okay, so then we'll kind of track the progress of the remaining adapter items that are in progress right now in JIRA, and then watch to see if those can get completed by the end of day tomorrow. And if not, I think we'll just end up moving them to sprint 3, but hopefully we can get them closed out in this sprint. Then we have 2 remaining items on the to-do list. One I think was a fairly quick one that we talked about briefly on Tuesday. That's VOL 523. So I did reach out to Kyle on this one, and he did reply back that he does not have commit permissions to the repo. So he said he could add the space, but he does not have commit permission. So is there anyone else who can assist with this, or what should we do with this one?
Yeah, Joe, I can help him. He's right around the corner from me. So I'm going to be working with him this afternoon, because he should be able to submit. He just needs to get used to Garrett, which.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you can assign it either to me or to Kyle. So it's in progress.
I'll go ahead and assign it to you. So Chip, thank you for that. And then I think that one will be a quick one to do. And then I think that leaves us with one item to discuss. And we did, oh, yes, was there a comment?
Sorry, I'm making noise.
Oh, okay. All right, and then the last item we have that is in sprint 2 is VOL 460. And this one, I don't believe I saw anything after the last call. So we talked about perhaps having a proposal, generate some discussion on the VOLTA Discuss board. And my memory serves, I don't recall seeing anything. So I think this one is not likely on track for sprint 2. Do we have any comments from the group?
Yeah, I went through and I've looked at a couple existing Yang models, and they look like they have way too much baggage for what we had. So I sent some emails to Tricia, and she just got back from travel, and she has a couple ideas she wants to brainstorm. So I'm pretty sure it won't be in sprint 2.
Yeah, I think so as well. So then I have a question. I'm going to go to the backlog for a minute here and take a look at sprint 3. And then Tim, I believe you're on the call today as well. So sprint 3, we have really focused primarily on adapter issues. We do have that one about the external software versions. We move to sprint 3 to complete. Based on your view in terms of what you have loaded into sprint 3 right now, do you think that it would make sense for us to go ahead and try and move VOL 460 into sprint 3, or do you think that risks timelines? Do we think we can absorb that into sprint 3?
Who's VOL 460 assigned to?
This one's assigned to Sarisha. There's been a lot of ongoing discussion, and so Chip said he's had some dialogue with Sarisha on some ideas, but this one's going to take a bit longer. I'm not sure.
Well, assign it to sprint 3. It's not going to be done in sprint 2. Put it into sprint 3, and I don't see a resource contention issue for that, since most of sprint 3 is adapter related, and this is not.
Yes. So we'd been kind of hoping to keep it really focused on the adapter, I think, for sprint 3, but
yeah,
I think it's mixing going on at this point.
There is mixing, and we'll always have to have a few plan on a few bugs to be resolved in each sprint, those that are prioritized, but we shouldn't be looking for new bugs to pull in.
Exactly, yeah. So this is just one that was in one of our high priority items from Sprint 2. It's going to miss Sprint 2, so we'll work to get that resolved on during Sprint 3. So that, I think, is going to be our new plan for 460. Any other questions from the group on that item today? I think more discussion needs to take place, and we'll see how that progresses. Okay, I don't hear any other comments from the group, so let me go back to the Sprint view just really quickly here. And so I think we have this one to do, which hopefully will be a quick fix for adding that space. And then Chip, thank you again for agreeing to help with navigating Garrett and getting the commit done for that. And then we have the adapter issues, the 3 that we're hoping will get resolved by the end of the week as well. So I think we're on track at this point. I do want to talk about the discussions for next week, since initially we were primarily doing adapter issues in Sprint 3. And I wasn't sure if we wanted to have a meeting specifically on the on the VOLTHA TST call. I think with moving 460 into Sprint 3, I think I would like to continue our calls on Tuesday at least, and we'll get a status on that, see how things stand. And
who is,
at this,
Julie,
yes.
With cord build going on next week and starting in the morning, it's running Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I wonder if we'll even have a quorum on the calls.
Okay. So okay. I can go ahead, Sean. I think I hear Sean asking a question.
Who's attending the core bill? I know I am, but
it might be easier to ask who isn't. I don't know.
Yeah, who's not? No. David, I know you probably will be attending, but other than you, who else? Paul?
Yeah, Paul Gray from Tibbet will be there.
Okay. Oh, I'll be attending.
Kim is attending. I will be attending, Sean.
No, I'm very interesting. Maybe we should have a lockdown. I know. Sergio will be
locked down. What?
Locked down what?
Lock everybody down. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I know Sergio will be there too, right? So and okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm.
No, I think.
Oh, go ahead, Sean. I'll let you finish.
I've seen the schedule. Okay, let's take a look at the schedule and then see whether we can still at least Tuesday morning still have a call.
Okay.
I mean, would that be time well spent, or you guys want to rather just have
Well, and that's something I think we can talk about, because I expect we would leave the detailed discussion on the adapter issues. I expect we'd leave that for the discussion on Wednesday if there's a Wednesday meeting for the adapter call. And really, the only items that we would be focusing on, actually probably would be focusing just on 460 and maybe a quick status if there's work on 408. But I expect 408 will still be kind of delayed till after the court build. So I think it would be primarily a call on 460, and perhaps Tuesday is too soon for that. I'm not sure.
Okay, so maybe Tuesday morning we can skip that. Maybe have Thursday morning.
You want to have Thursday morning? You want to have Wednesday? Use the Wednesday call.
Either way.
I guess, either way. Why don't we? Yeah. Since Thursday is probably better attended, maybe we should just plan on a call on Thursday, and you'll miss
and cover all the Sprint 3 issues.
Yeah, that's a lot. Maybe a lot of the content in Sprint 3 is currently assigned to the CalSoft team, and so.
Okay.
We'll need them in attendance at one of these to get an update on progress there.
So would that make sense to have Thursday call start at 7 o'clock earlier?
I think you're only missing breakfast if we do it at 8.
Yeah. What? Sorry, I'm still in jet lag. But
yeah.
what I'm thinking, maybe start at 7:30 and then run an hour and a
Yeah.
half. And
Yeah,
then,
that's fine.
And then early, if CalSouth people are mostly from India, right? So, so I think that time frame may be friendlier for the Indian the folks from India. Just
That's fine with me.
Okay, so if
Julie,
I heard,
you have conflict at 7:30 or something?
I will have to check because I often have a 7 o'clock meeting, so I need to check my calendar, and I have it closed up right now since I'm hosting the call. So I'll have to check afterwards to see if I can do the earlier start. I may be able to, but I often do have a 7 o'clock. So we'll check on that. So if I'm unavailable to initiate the bridge at 7:30 or so 30 minutes earlier, Tim, is there a chance that you're free at that time?
At 7:30 on Thursday?
On Thursday.
I'll make myself available.
Okay. I'm hoping I'm available. I just need to check my calendar because I often have a standing meeting at that time. So yeah, I'll see if I can clear out my calendar. Hopefully that will work. And if I heard correctly, then we're going to cancel the Tuesday TST call. And then was it also the Wednesday call, the adapter call, and move everything to Thursday? Sean, did I get that right?
One thing I'm thinking is if majority of the discussion is around the adapter, then we should keep the Wednesday and move the Tuesday or Thursday content into Wednesday. What, Tim?
That's fine.
Well, I think what Tim was thinking doing it on Thursday might be better because we had more attendance typically.
Okay.
On the Thursday call. Was that the rationale?
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
If we're going to have one meeting, it's probably better to have it on Thursday than Wednesday, which is, lighter. And we'll just have to get the, invite the CalSoft guys to attend on Thursday and just cancel the Wednesday and have it all done on Thursday.
Okay. No, fine with me too.
Okay. So at this point, we will plan to cancel next Tuesday's call, cancel next Wednesday's adapter call, and roll all of the discussion for Sprint 3 into a longer session, 7:30 to 9 on next Pacific time, next Thursday, so starting 30 minutes earlier than usual. Okay. All right. So I will add that into the notes about the change in schedule when I send out the notes for today's call, and then we may want to send a reminder, Tim, from you on the adapter as well as it gets closer to that time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I think for Sprint 2, we've moved a couple things around, but I think we're in good shape for what's remaining to close by the end of the week, and we'll see how the adapter work progresses over the next couple of days. Is there anything else from the group that we need to discuss today?
Is there anything in the Sprint 2 deserve on, because we have not done any demo, right? So
yes.
So is there anything on the Sprint 2 may be helpful if there's a demo? But I guess next Wednesday probably not a good time to do that.
I have a bigger question. Are we originally said at the end of Sprint 2 we were going to tag 1.1.0. Is that still the intent? And what would that be used for? And this obviously leads into the question of that this was targeting the AT&T field trial,
right,
which is scheduled to start next week.
And I think let's follow the plan. Just tag it 1.1.0, and after sprint 4, let's do 1.2. Assuming there's not too much work to tag the release and cut the release.
There's cherry picking required, and we'll have to decide what to cherry pick to the 1.1 branch for the tag release.
Yeah, there was, just a little bit. Julie, if you could look on that Vol 475, that's there. This was kind of the thing that was holding up doing that release in the first place. And David and I, and mostly David, you can't see it in the Garrett reviews, but when that comes up, there's got to be at least 20 Garrett commits that were related around doing all those version changes and everything to get the lockdown for the 1.1 and also get things set up for moving forward on master for ONOS and the ONOS apps and such. So a lot of work was put into that. So we need to figure out, like Tim said, in addition to that, that was only part of it. There are still, we have to kind of decide, are we doing a 1.1.0 and what content is there? Is it 1.1.1? Because there's cherry picks that are required, things that are on master, that is a mix, right, of things that were supposed to be in 1.1 release and then things that were targeted, 1.2 and even beyond. There's a few in there as well. I think they're mostly around the adapter side, but I'm not exactly sure. So it's kind of getting the definition of which 1.1.x are we doing, and then what should the content of that thing be? And hopefully it's not a lot more work than we already have right now. David, is that a good summary?
I think so, yes.
I see, there are 20-some commits on master that are not on the 1.1 branch that for consideration. Not all of them should be cherry-picked over, but we need to go through that list to decide which would be cherry-picked over. And given that we have half an hour now, perhaps, if we want this to be done and tagged and release tagged next week sometime, early next week, since we're all going to be busy, what would be a better time to go through that list?
So a simplifying question, why not just pull them all over from master to 1.1?
Blindly? I think there are probably a few.
Well, not necessarily blindly, but yeah.
Well, it was the only consideration there if 1.1 was to be, because when we first did that almost goes back a month ago to the beginning of the POC 3 entry, and it was intended to be a lockdown, in preparation for POC 3. But now that it's not, okay, the big consideration is, well, is this, right. If everything goes there.
Why don't we just pull everything from master to 1.1, and then we announce next week at Cord Build, hey, release 1.1 of VOLTHA.
Yeah.
Yep.
And is anyone concerned with integration testing of that prior to release?
Oh, it'd be nice, yes.
Well, there was ad hoc release testing during the POCs when we were kind of doing that.
Yeah. Well, but I'm looking at but Kim, let me interrupt for a second, because the 1.1 branch was cut on 9/28. And there are a number of 20-some commits since then, and obviously we need to go through and look at that and make sure that they do apply, and cherry pick most or all of them over, and then great, now you got a 1.1.0 tag, and has it really been tested? Because most of these items were merged in after during the last half of or after POC3.
Right, but my guess is even if you cherry pick some over, right, regardless if we pick them all, pick one, or pick none, we have the same testing situation.
Yes.
Right, because the POC was kind of a mix of what was kind of tagged at 1.1 plus what people added plus master, right? So it wasn't clean, and that's fine. But I think we had the test issue regardless of what we do.
We do. It's just a matter of who is going to be doing that testing. If AT&T picks this up for the field trial and implements it untested, what are the implications?
I think again, it's going to be the same implications, right? Even if we don't take everything and call whatever we take 1.1, it's still untested, right? We haven't changed that. So it'd be nice if someone could, if we brought everything over, tagged it, if someone could do the full end-to-end test. But I don't know if anyone has access to a complete RG through internet setup that they can test against.
Yes, yeah, and David, one thing to add on there, really brief, is if that is the intent for field trial, it's not completely there yet, right? Because we still have a few more things that are being worked on for this sprint that needs to go there. So, so then that leaves the question: is it really too early to do this now? If that's really what the intent is, to lock it down for field trial.
Fair question. Or do we lock it down at 1.1 and then field trial becomes? Well, I mean, field trial technically starts next week, right? So nothing's going to happen between now and then, right? It's not like so. If we're locking down something before field trial, this is it. There's just nothing else there.
Right. That's true.
I would, I do like the idea to have 1.1 cut, and then we can make an announcement next week. Not that it make, I think it probably for ONF that means something. And once this cut, then we have a release, and we can take it to the field trial. And when 1.2 release available, we will also take 1.2. We'll upgrade to 1.2. Right. So
I mean, it's true though. We don't. This will be an untested, end-to-end untested release.
True.
And it's also a different topology from POC3 as well.
It is.
Yeah, that's true.
It is. And so even you test in the lab is still different, right? So and to be honest, how much end-to-end testing has been done before 1.0 got released?
That's true.
That's true.
It would be nice to believe though, if we cut 1.1 with all the fixes that we've got, all the pending changes, that if someone took it into a POC3 topology, that it would get up and running relatively painlessly.
Exactly.
Right? That would be a nice thing.
It would be a very, very, but it is our goal to have the environment set up in multiple operators lab, and then they can do testing. But I think it's just, we can never get it. We cannot have that done by the end of this year or even the first month of next year, right? So it is what it is. I think this is open source. We just have to give it a trial, right? So a try. So I what I'm saying is not worse than 1.0 release. I hope.
I think we should put that we should put that slogan on a T-shirt. Release 1.1, not worse than
1.0. And by the way, we do have a new service provider on call today. The new name you see, we have a very good spirit within this working group. So, but David, I think for the court build, I think if we can talk to ONF, they can take it into the court. The VOLTHA will be demoed next week. If they can take it in, I think that would be a good thing, right? So let's take it in. I think probably will be even better if we can cut it tomorrow by the end. So
do we want to go over the commits, or are we going to take things blindly, to use probably the correct term, or who's going to be tasked with going over those and making sure that it makes sense to cherry pick them?
Whose judgment call is this? Mine?
All we have to do is take someone, and maybe a couple people get together. Doesn't have to be in this meeting necessarily, and do a quick run over the 20 commits and make a judgment call, right? I mean, we've already said it's going through untested, so it's going to be a best effort.
Yes.
If we have enough of the right people on the call today, we've still got a half hour that we can allocate to that.
Absolutely.
Sean, does that sound fine with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow we have
I just
to
need
pull up
someone
the
to
list.
know what I need to present, or if I should give presenting rights to someone else.
Kim, you have that list at least through yesterday that you sent to me. Is that the correct list?
Let me have a check on that. Yeah, that was a fairly fresh list. Let me just look at that again. Yeah, I guess, Tim, if you just can display that email. It's just got a screenshot of Get K in there that just kind of shows what's in there, and I think that would be good to go over if you could present that.
And it looks like you've got it up. Thank you.
Here we go. So there is the list with the green 1.1 branch shown and everything subsequent to that in ascending order. So most of them have the issue tag, not all do. So we can, the ones that do are quite easy to recognize. So Vol 490 add ETH type was introduced by, yeah.
I would say that, from the list, I think it's probably easier to identify what does not go. Like that one that's highlighted, the one that's highlighted in gray right there. Okay, that would be one that doesn't go, right? But it looks like, there's kind of a timing mix, because some of these things were, kind of bug fixes that were done and discovered during POC 3 time that were, then resolved and committed, after that. So, and probably if people are doing any type of tests or runs or whatever with VOLTHA, they're, pulling the latest from master, which seems to be, okay, kind of towards David's point is, that all that's in there, why not take it all? So,
right.
The two key ones there, if you look, spot up there a little bit, that they kind of look different from Ken. That 6, yeah, those two right there, those were involved in the gRPC version change, right? So that's kind of the biggest difference, which didn't seem to really have any effect on VOLTHA, right? Was the change in the internal gRPC version from 3.1 to 3.3.
So those should be picked, or they should not be picked over.
Well, those are considerations not to, if you want to say what the testing was POC 3, but what was done at that time. But the thing is, probably just rolling it forward as far as possible and just don't pick anything that has any change to the configuration. That would be the very top one that David has in there. So that commit definitely would not want to go over either, because that's fixing, you know, the Ono snapshot versions for master. We want to keep the one that's right there. It's kind of got the green stuff down there at the bottom, VOLTHA 1.1. See, that's a different version of the commit that locks the versions down on 1.1, and I think Onos would want to stay with those. So what that means is that all of these, you know, all of the functionality we pull over there actually works only, you know, has been, you know, kind of lockdown tested. So it just kind of takes it a little bit back from where the current Onos apps are, but those aren't too much different, as David is saying.
Right, we need to basically resolve that into an action. So let's identify those that clearly we do not want to pick over. So we said this one, this bump VOLTHA core version 1.0 does not go.
Right, and the one right above it as well.
Okay,
that's
so
snapshot versions, right?
Okay. And then you're arguing that these two do not go?
Well, I think anything that are after that point would probably have to go, because, you know, like there was unit test fixes and things. They kind of can't go without, you know, without that one.
Changes. All right. So we do need.
So the question is, if we don't take those, do unit tests against 1.1 work?
Right.
Yeah, see that gets into, you know, sort of that testing exercise again to pull that onto the brand, you know, that David, that you and Ken and I did last week.
Yeah.
Was kind of going through all that iteration to see if it works. So if we take it, we know that it's there and already there. So really what 1.1 does is it rolls as far forward on master as what we can roll it without reverting any of the Onos app lockdowns. That's basically what.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm in favor of, right? Because then we know the tests work, and I mean, even if the thing's not tested end to end, it'd be nice if the unit tests work.
Yes, and so I don't know on the mechanics of doing that cherry pick where there's, you know, there's quite a few of them. I don't know. Is that a David, do you know?
Do we cherry pick, or do we just move the tag?
Well, see, there's no tag for 1.1 right now, but the branch is already out there called 1.1, and we can't change, rename, or move that. Right, once it gets into the repos, it's pretty
right.
Well fixed. So, you know, in retrospect, we weren't ready to make that branch back on 9/28, but it's been done, so we just have to, you know, unless we want to make it to be a different thing, you know, if we just change our moniker there and call it VOLTHA 1-1 new or something like that, right? Then we could just, you know, branch from where, you know, we are all the way at branch master all the way at the top, and then just cherry pick the changes that, you know, that put the owner apps back.
Can we rename the branch? Can we rename VOLTHA 1.1 branch and rename it VOLTHA 1.1 oops branch or something, and then create a new branch?
The problem is with that, I've researched that a little bit, and because this is a public repo, right, and everybody, you know, has clones of that, we can't control. There's a lot of comment and background on that, but once you get that branch out there in the repos, you don't have any ability to rename it in all of those clone git repos. So the best thing is, what the best practice is just to, you know, swallow hard and make a new branch with a different name, and try not to do that again, because the rename is not going to be effective and could have the side effect of rendering those repos to get into kind of a confused state, which is the real 1.1 branch, the one that got it renamed to, or the yeah.
I mean, in theory, if we walk through from oldest to newest and cherry pick, the cherry pick should go relatively smoothly.
Yeah, I think it just goes in reverse order. If you just do them in the order that they showed on master, and then they just come over to VOLTHA 1.1, I think there's a lot of cherry picks, but it probably, it'll probably be okay. Right, and then just skip the ones you don't want to move. And I haven't taken a pre-look at it, but sometimes you can get into a dependency issue, right? But probably not, because we don't have like real many Uber commits in here that are changing, a whole lot of config files at once or something like that.
The other option would be to check out the branch and do a git merge with fast forward only from master into the branch, and then maybe back out the changes you don't want. Or maybe if you do a merge fast forward with a specific commit, we might be able to get away with that, right? Saying, look, we're going to check out the branch. We're going to do a merge. We're going to find the commit, the most recent commit that we can take from master, merge that into the branch. It's a fast forward. And then we just have to cherry pick those that aren't covered by that. That make sense?
Well, that may be worth a try. Like where the pointer is right now on that one commit below is maybe try to, get the 1.1 branch up that far, right? And then, because we could do a later commit to fix the version bumps back to where they need to be in case, because it will, if you do that, it will pick up that gray highlighted one that says bump forward to 1.2, which we don't want to have on there. We want to leave it at 1.1.
But we could take the commit before that, right? We could try to fast forward to the commit before that bump. But then we got to cherry pick everything after that too.
Yeah, that's the problem. You can only fast forward. If you got to skip a few of them, then the fast forward isn't effective from that point.
So someone need. If we're agreed that we're going to take everything except like the bump, is that the only one we're not taking?
Yeah, it's that bump, and then the one right above that says vol 497.
497. Mm-hmm.
Right, and then I think it's the very most recent commit, right? The change master to the latest snapshots.
Okay. So if we're gonna take everything but those three, it's just a matter of see who draws a short straw and gives it a try.
One question is
got it.
One question. Oh, sorry. So when you say everything but those three, which three are we talking about? Sorry.
On the VOLTHA core version to 1.2, vol 497, and vol for the top one 475. Is that correct, guys?
That 475. Yeah.
So you're saying those will be picked up in the 1.2?
Well, they no longer
become part of 1.2.
Yeah.
They'll stay in master, is what it will be. Right. They'll be in master, but they won't be in 1.1.
Okay, so when we ready for 1.2, we are not going to miss those three, right? Or two?
Correct.
Okay.
Because when we release 1.2, we'll create a new branch off the master.
Okay. One question is, does a product owner need to know how this creates?
I don't know, Sean. I was thinking you were going to actually do it. So
yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. Do we have consensus?
I hear no argument. Therefore, we have consensus.
Yeah, I just think we're all terrified, but that's a different issue.
Yeah. Sorry, I was on mute right there. As I would think that maybe the best approach, David, and see what you think about this, is maybe, trying to do a fast forward all the way to the second to the top commit, right? That gets everything that's on master. And then what we do is just put in another commit that will reset the version bump, for those three, those 2 or 3 commits there that just put that Onos apps back to the correct versions, right? And that puts the VOLTHA core version back to 1.1. And then, because then at least it might be a simpler process that, that can be changed out. You could try it outside of Garrett, right? Just do it in a local repo.
I'm honestly okay with that. Yeah, I mean, the only concern I have is I don't know how complicated the bump VOLTHA core version 1.2 is.
Oh, it's
right.
Not. It's simple. It's a one character change in setup.py in the root directory. So
okay,
that's an easy one, and nobody ever touches that, so it won't be there won't be a conflict with it in any case.
I mean, that sounds reasonable to me. It's just you're essentially fast forwarding to the second to the top and then undoing a couple changes.
Yes, right.
Yeah. And we could actually save those files that are modified from the existing one, just copying back over probably.
Yeah, and then the result is what this tree would look like is we're just going to see, the 1.1 branch grow and have all those same commits on it. So it would be not really something that you would normally see or do.
Right.
You would not create your branch that quickly in a normal, kind of a normal release planning. But we had the reasons are well known why we did that.
And I'm okay with that if others are. And as long as we document it in the commit comments, that's fine.
Okay.
Good.
Now the question is, who will do it? I'm starting to fall behind on some commitments that I have elsewhere. I could personally, I think I could do it's not going to be hard just to try and see if that, if that merge fast forward is going to work or not. But if there's any problems with it, I may not be able to invest the time into it to figure it out.
So this is just in the incubator VOLTHA repo, right? That's all
that's all we're talking about here, right? And I'll go ahead and take the part of that also in that. Yeah, go ahead, David.
I'll try the fast forward, Kim, and see where it goes, and that way I don't want to affect your commitments, and as I know you're doing some adapter work. Let me try to fast forward and back it out, and I will probably pass things by you before we actually push the commit.
Let's do it. That seemed to be effective on the last stuff that we did. Unfortunately, as usual, you end up taking the burden of the work on this. But
no worries.
So what are what are there commits we're waiting for that we expect to have by Friday that also need to be considered?
Good point.
Well, those are planned to go to master anyway, right?
Right.
And
yes.
What is coming in, the preview in it, they are all isolated. There is no VOLTHA core stuff in there. It's all isolated to the
adapter.
ASF Volt 16 adapter, with the exception of what I mentioned before, the Broadcom ONU adapter, which will be handled as separate commit. So that
is the question.
We also have that.
Is the question though? Do we want to wait to the end of this? Is there any? I'm sorry. Do do we want to wait to the end of this sprint and then do this?
I would say no, we don't need to wait for it because, you know, the problems found sooner is better than later. And there's probably only going to be 2 or 3 commits that are very isolated that'll come in. So that won't be hard to cherry pick those.
And just cherry pick those over once they're committed into the 1.1 branch. And then the tag will happen then after those have been cherry picked over.
Okay. Makes sense.
Because if it does work, then David, it preserves all of the testing that was done all the way up to, you know, like Vol 526 there, all that vagrant testing and, you know, everything else, what Jenkins is using. So basically it's as good as VOLTHA is right now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
We'll give it a shot and see what happens.
Okay, and let me know on that. I may have a little delay in getting back to you, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can on any Slack or anything.
Okay.
Great. Julie, I'll give you back the screen.
Okay. And let me change to myself here for presenter. Okay, so the one I just wanted to check on, because I know we just talked about the adapter related ones and what would happen with those if we went ahead and proceeded now. What about Vol 523, where we had to add a space into a file?
That chip
Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah.
Right. It's just in terms of the work going on right now that David and Kim are going to be doing.
That'll be minor. I think it'll be minor as well. If Chip can shepherd getting that in there,
okay,
then we can cherry pick it, you know, when it's
okay. So we'll just cherry pick that one once it's ready then. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure that one didn't get lost in the shuffle. All right. I think we're set
then. I think last thing to say on that, then this ought to be it. We ought to say and not, you know, bring any more things into 1.1, right? So,
no, Sprint 2 is I think closing out 1.1. Sean, is that that's your understanding as well, right? Sean?
So, can you say that again? Sorry.
So we were just confirming that once we close Sprint 2, nothing else is coming into 1.1. Everything else would need to go to 1.2 or later.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Just wanted to get confirmation on the call. So yes, so that is the plan. And then we have these handful of items that are being worked in the background while the other work is being done by David and Kim. Thank you both for that. And keep us updated if there are issues and if we need to pull folks together for something more. Hopefully it will go smoothly. And thanks again for all of your efforts. Any last call for comments here, I guess, before we close the meeting today?
Right. Julie, if anything comes up that changes the course, we'll just put it on Volt to discuss. You know,
okay, that sounds good.
Announcement that there's a deviation to the plan. I think otherwise that will happen.
Okay,
all right.
That sounds good.
Good.
Thank you. I think we're in good shape and good work today from everyone on getting a path forward. Much appreciated. And I will go ahead and close up the call in just a moment. Minor reminder here again that we're going to cancel Tuesday's call at this point and cancel Wednesday's adapter call and have an extended call starting 30 minutes earlier on next Thursday. And that will be focused on the items in Sprint 3. All right, thanks everyone, and I will go ahead and stop the recording and drop the bridge.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.